Welcome to The Good Oil. Neil Breen here with my co-host Will Freedman ahead of Derby Day at Flemington. Well, it was always the most famous day on the Australian turf, but with all the changes in racing that are going on, there's rival meetings, the Everest meeting. Even this weekend, we've got the Golden Eagle at Rose Hill as a rival meeting to Derby Day at Flemington. How are you, Will?
I'm good. I would argue you would call this day Golden Eagle Day. And
Really?
oh, well, the Derby's a race for 2,500 for 3-year-olds, which is unrealistic. And I feel outside of the Coolmore, it's just a meeting.
I try to not be an old fogey, right? I'm 55 years of age, and
You don't look it.
I don't want to be one of those. Thank you. I don't want to be one of those people who goes, "Oh, in my day when I was a kid, it was better." But I loved Derby Day.
Yeah.
When there was, the Derby. The Wakeful for the 3-year-old fillies, as the lead up into the Oaks the following Thursday. The McKinnon Stakes over 2,000 metres. There was a 1,200-metre race down the straight for the sprinters, the older sprinters, which was a group run race. It was called the Salinger, and there's great old horses won it. And those type of races, the Dalgety, the 2,500-metre race, and as they've changed it around, I don't know, it's lost its shape a touch for me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it used to, where it was the best day of racing in Australia.
With the 5 Group 1s, and then, the other days of the carnival were good, but they're trying to bolster the second end. But anyway, we're not going to bag it too much.
But
I still love it.
But the Golden Eagle is arguably the best race
Of the day.
You've got Amelia's Jewel, Hawaii 5-0, Kovalika, Radina, who won the Epsom. These are the lowest rated horse is a stakes winner in the Golden Eagle.
The Golden Eagle, and the Golden Eagle's worth $10 million. Okay, 10% of it goes to charity. It's worth $9 million to the connections. It's an unbelievable race. For goodness sake, Will, it's worth more than the Melbourne Cup.
Oh, and it's. Look, it is the race, and above all else, you can have your arguments about the Everest. The Golden Eagle is the race that deserves to have Group 1 status. And it proves that if you have races for 4-year-olds
because it's for 4-year-olds only, this race.
If you have more races for 4-year-olds only, you will get a better caliber of horse than races for 3-year-olds only. And there are way too many.
And it's a very new concept in Australia to have a race for 4-year-olds only. We've so concentrated on 2-year-old, 3-year-old racing. Then they progress. Let's quickly get through the things we like to do at the start of the show. Let's look at the Pineapple. Now, I want to put up Blake Shin for his ride on Antino. Now, we know last weekend on the show, I declared Antino and I had it. And it, honestly, in a 6-horse, is there anything worse than a horse you've declared not getting a run in a 6-horse field?
It looked like it was going to get a run. It went 3
wide. 3 times it looked like it was going to get a run.
The only argument I'd have is that the inside was hot for the whole day. You had to be inside with running, and I'm actually not sure that Antino was going that well on the bend. But
then he nearly wins the race up the...
Prowess is a pretty good horse.
I know, Prowess is a good horse. I'm still filthy that Antino... Geez, it's been the unlucky horse of the carnival. But so you're not going to accept that. You've got your own nomination.
Yeah, I can't say it. And
Athabaskan in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup.
That's right. I thought in a staying race, there's a lot of opportunities to move your way off the fence. You've got a long time to wait. The only place you can't be at Moonee Valley is in the death seat, in the box seat. It's the only race. Look, to be honest, I'd love to throw Moonee Valley in for the Pineapple. I freaking hate it.
It's a tough joint, Moonee Valley.
It's the most hard luck story of all. It's like racing. It's like racing on the inside grass at Gosford or Wyong.
It's the big sweeping bend. And then you've got to be moving before the turn, and then there's that tiny 200-metre straight.
But also,
it's a strange track.
On Cox Plate Day, no one was making ground outside of the first 3 horses, so it's impossible for some horses to win.
There was a fast lane.
So I'm happy to just throw Moonee Valley in for a Pineapple nomination.
So you're going to nominate the racetrack?
Yeah, it needs to go.
Okay.
Straight to jail.
Right. So it hosts the most famous weight for age race in this country, the Cox Plate.
Move it.
Move it from there. What, Flemington over 2,000?
We moved the Canterbury Stakes from Canterbury.
I know. And the Canterbury Guineas. Oh, I don't know. We used to have big races at Canterbury. Okay, so the pineapple this week goes to Moonee Valley. Okay, my Sayonaras are going so bad. Like,
this is the best part of my week.
Romantic Warrior. So this is how I'm the dumbest person ever. We interview James McDonald,
the best jockey possibly ever.
On this show. You and I ask him, what is your one horse for the spring? And we didn't even finish the question before he said Romantic Warrior. And so I just went, oh my God, I went gaga for it in the Turnbull.
And then you were reeling.
And then I was reeling. And then because of, you know what? That stupid world pool, right? $2.70. I was going, I can't back this at $2.70.
You don't go broke making money.
I know. And then I didn't back it. I had it in all my trifectas, and I'm just so filthy. And it won. And, I didn't even watch the celebration. I turned the TV off, and I got the hedge clippers out, and I went and clipped the hedges. Anyway, I'm going to Sayonara Hawaii 5-0 this week. I think it's turning into a non-winner.
Oh, that's amazing, because we'll get to it later, but my unload is Hawaii 5-0.
Well, last week I Sayonara and Romantic Warrior, and you was unloaded on it at 1.
I think it's the best horse in the race in that. Anyway, get to that later.
The So Simple this week is Romantic Warrior, because James McDonald sat on this show and said it's his horse of the spring.
Has to be.
And James McDonald stayed in Melbourne. And do you know when he hugged his wife in the enclosure?
Caitlin,
yeah. Caitlin Mallion, his wife, in the enclosure after, and he said something to her. I know what he said.
So do I.
Okay, you tell me what he said.
Can't believe Brenny Sayonara Romantic Warrior.
No, he didn't. He said to her, and that's the difference. And that was a reference to he stayed there for the whole week, rode that horse in work. The trainer wasn't going to give it much work on the Tuesday. J-Mac said, no, we're going to work this horse. And he said, that's the difference, is that you stay and you see it through.
I've got a controversial Sayonara, though.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm Sayonara-ing Think About It.
Ooh, so Think About It is in the Giga Kick Stakes at Rose Hill this weekend. It's $1.60.
Yep. I think Private Eye will beat Think About It.
Okay, we'll get to that race soon. Yeah. So that's your Sayonara.
That's my Sayonara, but yeah. So the So Simple was always romantic.
Warren. That's your Sayonara.
Like there's some people when they give you a tip, they're hopeful.
Yeah,
like
he wasn't hopeful.
You can ask a lesser jockey.
He said it straight out.
But you can ask a lesser jockey, and it might be their only Group 1 ride, and they'll say, "Oh, my best is X and X," because they want it to win. James knows he's going to ride 6 or 7 Group 1 winners throughout the carnival, most likely. So he doesn't need to pick it. He could have picked Riff Rocket. He could have picked Shinzo. He could have picked any. He's got a number of horses. So Simple was to back James's judgment in. He did tell me after that first run, he said this thing, he was surprised it ran so well. It was fat, and he said it was soft. But he said if it tightens up, it'll win.
Oh, okay. Well, a bit late now. Anyway, well done. Well done to him. Hey, we always do Gates Fly where we talk about an issue. We're going to tackle one today, which is, it's a bit silly. But there's been a big song and dance because the VRC is allowing in the members tailored shorts. So in other words, you'll be wearing your suit and your tie.
What temperature is it going to be?
I haven't looked at the weather. Actually, I'm going to the Cup. Can I look at the weather now?
Is it Cup Day or is it all week?
Well, I think they're just allowing them into the members. Gay Wardhouse said she doesn't like it. I got to say,
That's because Gay doesn't own tailored shorts.
Yeah, I know. I think tailored shorts for men look absolutely ridiculous.
No bueno.
Not for me. I honestly, I go, what are they going to wear like leather shoes with no socks with it?
It's a bit like golf, like if you have a nice pair of shorts, tailored, it's okay.
No, that's okay. Shorts are okay. Golf, not for the members of. Look, if they're making me wear a tie, right?
Yeah.
I would rather ditch a tie than be able to wear shorts.
I think
if they're trying to be modern and groovy with the times, this is like the IOC going, we got to attract kids to watch the Olympics. Let's put in breakdancing. Why? Oh, because a few people breakdanced in the early 80s, 40 years ago.
That would actually be fantastic.
At the Olympics.
Breakdancing.
It's in the Olympics.
Oh, beauty.
For Paris.
I'm going to be watching.
You idiot. No, hang on. What's the weather doing in Melbourne next week? And I want to see whether they can sort of wear these shorts or not.
I agree, though. Ditch the tie. If you're well dressed with a
you don't need a tie.
Suit and a shirt on, you can ditch the tie.
I think ties should be ditched in society because what? Because back in yesteryear, ye old folk, when they were in the field of battle, had a sort of a kerchief around their neck so they could wipe their brow after they were jousting with their swords. And now we're still wearing these stupid. But I do a show on Sky Thoroughbred Central every Wednesday night, and I have to wear a tie. It's Tabcorp's rule.
Yeah, my old man got taken off it because he wouldn't wear.
Your dad wouldn't wear a tie on Sky. Oh, look at this. Next Tuesday, 28 degrees in Melbourne. And there's
for something
a thing saying thunderstorm.
For something you thought was very fun, you're getting very animated about it.
Mate, start me up.
This might be a soft spot.
Okay, this is what's going to happen, Will Freedman. If I'm ever in Melbourne and you're got a horse in a good race and you're wearing tailored shorts and leather shoes with no socks with your horse, you're done with me. There's going to be a new person on the Heart of Racing.
Oh, I see how it is.
Management might ditch me instead of you. Hey, let's get into the races. Look, this is unbelievable because it is Derby Day at Melbourne this week at Flemington.
But we're starting with Rose Hill.
We're starting with Rose Hill. Because when I was doing the list up of races...
It's the best race.
So we'll start with the Golden Eagle. $10 million for 4-year-olds only. It's more prize money than the Melbourne Cup. Yeah, there's a charity element in it. $1 million of the 10 goes to charity. Amelia's Jewels, $4. Hawaii 5-0, $4.50. Pericles is $13. Kovalik is $9. Radina, the Epsom Handicap winner. Can you believe there's an Epsom Handicap winner in this race at $26, and Legato is at $8. This race is all about whether Amelia's Jewel, its flop in the Toorak, was just because she was flat or a bit off her feet or something, and we're going to take her on trust. You know what I mean? Is she going to be back to her best? If she's back to her best, I think she wins.
I think there's holes in her form.
Yeah. The Moonee Valley win wasn't spectacular. I think that win might have flattened her.
I wonder whether she hasn't quite come up this prep. She was beating up on nothing up in WA. She's come out here to the real deal and probably finding it a bit hard, which is fine. I don't think she's a deserved favourite. I think Hawaii 5-0's runs have been much better.
Yeah. So you like Hawaii 5-0?
I do. That's my tip. If I'm going to put in a roughie in there, I'm putting in Osipenko. I think his form stacks up. He wasn't that far off Fangirl a few starts back.
Yeah.
Osipenko's building towards something like this. And these are the sort of races that Chris bobs up with something that you're like, oh, that's what I think the So Simple will be next week. Will be Osipenko. You see this thing building towards winning this.
And then it wins, and we should have backed it at the price. So, Hawaii 5-0, he's such a big, gross horse. He's a massive horse. He comes into this rock hard fit.
It's very hard to tip against him. I'm just looking. He's barrier 4, gets all the breaks.
Can I go back to Sayonara?
No. You've already. It's almost a certainty. I'm glad we do the Sayonara first because I just follow your Sayonara into the unload and I get a rap for it.
You know what I'm going to do from now on? Every horse I Sayonara, I'm backing. I'm going to back because if they win, I won't feel so bad.
But in terms of it's a tremendous race.
It is a great race, and it's going to become such a feature on our calendar for years to come.
I'll bet you that Channel 7 get better ratings for that race than they do for the Derby in Melbourne. Like, it's not for the whole day, but for that particular race.
The problem for the Melbourne Cup Carnival has been it's broadcast on 10. Yeah. And 10's really struggled to
capture that audience.
Yeah, because 10 is the third of the 3 free-to-air network. And I'm not sitting here to bag Channel 10. I'm just talking about raw numbers.
Well, it hasn't worked because they're not getting it next. They're not renewing the contract.
They're not going to renew.
They're out.
It looks like Channel 9 might try and buy it from now on.
Yeah.
But Channel 10 hasn't got the big show that it can use to advertise the Cup Carnival. That's what the networks do. They use, The Block, which is a big show on 9, or Married at First Sight to throw people to other products that they have. And 10 just hasn't captured the imagination with its coverage, and it hasn't done well. And there's been big days in racing where people have sat home and put Channel 7 on because they expect the racing to be on 7.
Yeah.
They don't even notice they're not watching Melbourne.
Yeah, I know.
They go, there's Bruce McAvaney at Randwick.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Giga Kick Stakes is another great race.
It is a great race. We've got the Everest winner, think about it, $1.60. Private Eye at $4. Buenos Noches was scratched at the barrier in the Manikato last weekend, which was just a cakewalk for Imperatriz. It comes back to Sydney, Buenos Noches, $15.
Very good ride by Imperatriz, just to go back to it. Like, to actually be assertive.
To go to the front.
And to say, let's just take luck out of the equation.
And just go to the front and just blow them away.
Yeah.
It was a really good ride.
That was a top-notch ride. And decision-making, that had come from the owners and the trainers as well.
Aren't the owners... The owners just decided... We're just going to win these 3 races at Moonee Valley.
There's been a bit of...
And we're going to be happy. There's been a bit of heat put on them over it. But they chose their course.
My point is it's not fair to say she's the best sprinter in Australia, because when you don't get put under maximum pressure throughout the race, you have more to give late. And these people that do ratings, and by all means, they have their own rating systems, and they're somewhat objective, there's still a big subjective component to it. So... I think the only way we're going to find out who the best sprinter is when they all line up, and I'm not sure it'll happen.
But the owners of Imperatriz keep saying, well, we think she goes better the Melbourne way of going rather than the Sydney way of going.
Well,
she flies around the valley.
Doesn't matter. I wouldn't be too worried if I'm them. But
if I'm them, I'm just picking off Group 1 races and winning $1 million.
Does it really matter to them if they're winning that sort of prize money, if they're the best or the second best? I wouldn't really care.
I don't think they
as
care.
Long as I'm winning.
Exactly right. Okay, so you think it can get beaten, and you mentioned earlier you like Private Eye in that race. I'm going to have a little something on Buenos Noches.
You have a soft spot for him.
I do have a soft. You know when you go to the races and you see a horse win and you've backed it?
Just let me know
if you get stuck on it for the next 2 years.
Just let me know if you don't back it. Like if
you can back it.
Yeah.
Let's go to Flemington, the Derby. Now, Riff Rocket looks to have the race at its mercy, $2.50. Apulia, which won at Moonee Valley last weekend in the Vars, $5. Cap, I don't know how to say his name, Cap Ferret or Cap Ferrat, Sunsets and Verdad. They're all at $9, and Verdad was beaten in the Vars last weekend.
I'm just looking up as we go. It's a lottery, the Derby.
Riff Rocket looks really good to me.
I know, but it's a lottery because we don't know if these horses can stay
2,500.
There's no exposed form. So, like, you could go through 3 or 4 of them and be like, all the trainers will tell you that they'll stay. They don't know.
They don't know.
We don't know. We only know once we try them. The thing I'd say is that it's not a great race because it's been a while since a horse won it and went on with it. Like the only one that sticks out to me was Efficient. That's the one that sticks out.
It won an Australian Cup and a Melbourne Cup.
Proper horse. But a lot of them you don't ever see it. Like Manzoi's hasn't run in the top half of the field since it won the race. So as I said, I think this is where the problem with tradition comes into play.
Yeah.
Maybe there were aspects of training and breeding that, back 30 years ago.
They applied back in the day, but they don't apply now.
So why not make the race 2,000? You might then get horses back up from the spring champion and come down, like you still do already.
And you'll get more horses out of the Caulfield Guineas.
And I just think it's coming to a point they can't, like the VRC cannot be steadfast about tradition. They've changed everything else. You
can wear shorts. Did I tell you that? You can wear shorts in the members.
But only tailored ones. And you must wear a tie, Breenie.
I'm going to turn up with billabongs and a tie. Anyway, look, you're 100% right.
So
racing is changing.
Yeah.
They've changed this carnival. I don't like that they took the McKinnon away from a Saturday and put it on the following Saturday.
And they put the 1,000 guineas at the end of the carnival.
Yeah, the 1,000 guineas hasn't even been run yet.
Yeah.
They're doing all these changes, but they won't move on the Derby and the Oaks.
Which is fine, but that's the first thing that's got to happen. You can't, and I'm pretty sure it's the longest Oaks and Derby
that we have.
Because
the rest are all 2,400 around Australia.
We start at the hardest one and then gradually bring back in distance. It just doesn't make logical sense.
It's because of the way Flemington's configured. You can't start a 2,400 metre race.
Victoria can't get along with themselves, let alone everyone else. So, you can actually understand why Racing New South Wales don't get in the room. You've then got to deal with Moonee Valley, Caulfield, and Flemington.
I know, because they're all split.
Themselves.
They're all split. The MRC, the VRC, Moonee Valley. They're all their own clubs. Let's go to the Coolmore Stud Stage.
Yeah, this is a great race.
Okay, this is for the 3-year-olds, straight 6 down the 1,200 metres. It's a stallion-making race. It still holds up as a stallion-making race. The top 2 from the Golden Slipper earlier in the year head to betting. Cylinder at 4, Shinzo at 5. King's Gambit's at 6, great win last start. Osmosis sort of bubbles burst a bit there, $8. Your horse, Stapati, comes back to the 1,200 after the mile of the Caulfield Guinea. This is $13. V8's there at 15, could run a good race. There's massive mail that Shinzo's flying.
Yeah, I've heard that. Look, it's the day should arguably be called Coolmore Stud Stakes Day because it's the proper race. It's the race. And if you win the Coolmore Stud Stakes, you're a $15 million colt, if you're still a colt.
Yeah.
I think Cylinder's the pick. I'm not willing to take Shinzo on trust.
No.
I'm not willing to take it. King's Gambit up the straight I don't like. He's been on my...
Why I don't like him up the straight? And when we say that, people have to understand, running in a straight line for 1,200 metres, some horses absolutely thrive on it, and some can't handle it.
It's a big open space, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know where the group's going. Often when they follow the rail, they can find cover quite quickly and relax and follow the rail. It's a more comfortable setting. It's what we train on.
Yeah.
Not many people are in fact, no one's training up a straight like it does at Flemington. And
just rolling down.
It's a hot horse. So, look, if it can relax, it's certainly got the ability to do it, but that's the part that I'm querying. Stapati, I think, is a big chance if there's heaps of pace on. It'll be ready to run a strong 1,200.
And Milers run well down the straight 6.
Yeah.
Because it can be a tough 1,200 metres.
So I'm sort of... Stapati and Cylinder are my 2. I'm willing to risk Shinzo and King's Gambit.
Okay. Let's have a quick look at the Melbourne Cup. So that's it for Derby Day. Let's look at the Melbourne Cup next week.
People didn't like my opinion on this.
So you've got out on social media, and you've declared Vauban. Now Vauban, it's a French trained horse. It comes over here after an unbelievable win at Royal Ascot. Then it won a Group 3 race. So that was in June. Then it won a Group 3 race in August, and it absolutely
brained them,
and it rolled faster. Then it got faster, and it would have run out of the stadium if the jockey didn't pull it up. It's done some track work at Flemington, which had to be seen to be believed.
With the stablemate is in the Melbourne Cup,
and it just burnt
like it
this
wasn't
horse
there.
alive.
And all the lounge chair punters, which is fine, we love them, but are all saying, "Oh yeah, but it got fired up." I'm like, if it can freaking do that fired up, imagine what it does if it doesn't get fired up after that gallop. So
it firmed from $4 overnight into $3.50.
Yeah, I spoke to Willie Mullins.
55 kilos it has, which is not much weight for a horse that's won races like it has.
And I spoke to Willie Mullins earlier in the week and said, how are they going, both of them? He said they're both going well, really well. He's happy how they've trained on and how they've relaxed, and I'm willing to take his word for it. It's not the first time he's been out here. He hasn't won it, but he is obsessed by it. This will be his best stayer that he's bringing here because he wants to win the Melbourne Cup. It's a big deal to him.
And the race has changed. You know, people will say, "Oh, those internationals come out here and flop." Well, no, they don't.
They win at a fair bit.
Twilight Payment didn't come out here and flop. There were the 2-year-olds that came out here. There was Protectionist that came out here and won it one after the other. Dunedain, Americane, like. In the last 12 or 13 years, there's been 5 or 6 that have gone cross-counter, bang.
I honestly, I would take a market for it to win by 3 lengths. Like I would take.
You think it could win by 3 lengths?
I think it's if it runs them into the ground, if it gets any sort of relaxing part of the race, once he puts the pressure on at the 800, by the time they square up half the field,
sustain a long run.
By the time they get to the 600 and the other horses are making their moves, that they won't be able to win. It'll only be the front half of the field that can win because he'll have put 3 lengths on them, and then they've got to try and wear him back. They're not
he can go from a long way out, this horse.
They're not going to do it from 10 lengths last. They're just not going to make up that ground. So, look, I'm going out on a limb. I got chastised for doing it early, but I'm like, I'll put my balls on the line. We're out there.
And you're going to say Vauban. So it's Vauban in the Melbourne Cup. Gold Trip, last year's winners at $4.50. If it gets some rain, it'll run well. It's been in really good form. It's had an old Bart Cummings, Lee Freedman style build up to the Cup by running in a lot of races. It's only got a kilo more than it carried last year.
But interestingly enough, it's shorter in the market, but Mark Zara's picked Without a Fight.
Yeah, and he's picked Without a Fight at $7, which tries to do the Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup double. Sulkin's at 10. I don't know about the rest. Surely the race is in those 4.
Yeah. I'm expecting the favourite to win comfortably.
Vauban. Rightio. Well, I think I'm with you. I've become obsessed with watching replays of it win overnight. It's time to unload. I'm unloading on Riff Rocket in the Derby. I just think it wins the Derby.
I reckon you.
Right.
I don't mind it. Like, yes, the form is the best, but there's so many queries on 2,500. If it was 2,000, 2,200, cakewalk.
Okay, you
but
think 2,500
is a risk. And yeah, well, I've actually got a few time to unload. I like Hawaii 5-0.
Okay,
as one.
Yeah,
and I also like Vauban in the
Melbourne Cup.
I'm taking it one out. I'm singling it out in a trifecta and trying to get the other 2 after.
Well, I'm going to take it 2 out. I'm going to take Vauban and Without a Fight to run in the first 3.
And then you
just
take the field. Well,
take the field.
Take the field on the 3rd. See if they fight it out at the end and hope a 500 to 1 shot comes in.
That's what all you hope for. Might even go field 3rd, field 4th, and try and get 1% of the first 4.
Why not?
Will Freedman, have a great. I'll call it Golden Eagle Day on Saturday,
100%.
not Derby Day.
Love it.
I still call it Derby Day.
No, well, you enjoy
you
that.
youngsters.
You're
trying to change things too much.
Except, well, I'll be wearing tailored shorts down at the VRC.
I won't be, and I'll even have a bloody tie on.
With the summer of tennis right around the corner, Wide World of Sports has every angle covered.
From match highlights, press conferences and every breaking news story, Wide World of Sports is your home of tennis.
So click that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing this summer.